Hi guys, welcome to Q&A with Coach Rebecca. I am Coach Rebecca Smith, the founder of Complete Performance Coaching and the Perform Happy community, and I'm here for my weekly Q&A question and answer session where I answer questions from people in the Perform Happy community and give you guys a little extra support. My main purpose is to help young athletes age 8 to 18 overcome fear, build confidence, and get their mojo back, or just unlock potential that wouldn't otherwise be able to be maximized. And if you're looking for one-on-one help, we've got a whole amazing staff of coaches at your disposal at CompletePerformanceCoaching.com. And we also have a ton of do-it-yourself and guided by me online training options at PerformHappy.com. All right, so now that is out of the way, I am really excited to tackle this next question that comes from a member in the community. It's from a gymnastics mom. And so a little background, right now in the summer is the time when a lot of gymnasts are in this heavy duty, intense, long practices, lots of conditioning, really getting geared up and into shape. So I'm sure no matter what sport you're in, you can relate to the phases of training, and some of them are brutal. Some of them are so brutal, where you've got these long training camps, or you're in there 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week for, as many as 5 to 8 hours a day, training, because you're not getting ready for active competition. So you're building strength, you're building flexibility, you're building endurance, you're building stamina, and your coaches are pushing you to your absolute limit. And I remember when I was a gymnastics coach, I loved the summer because I was like, oh boy, I get to break these kids. It's insane. I look back, I'm like, I'm sorry guys. I'm sorry that I got so excited about, we're going to work so hard and you're going to sweat so much. And you know why I thought of it that way? Because that's what I had to go through when I was 12. So I was like, all right, payback time. But, oh gosh, I'm, like I said, apologies to anybody who got that side of me. Because coaches get really excited. They're like, we finally have time to do all the things we want to do and to really toughen you up mentally and physically, and let's do it. And so that's the background on this question. The mom, she's asking how to stay positive when getting tired. She says, summer practices mean longer and harder for us. Feeling more aches and pains creates fear of injuries and exhaustion from quote unquote always being hurt. And when you are working that much above your typical training schedule, you're going to be sore, you're going to be tired, and you are going to be putting yourself at risk for overuse injury. So those are some things we're going to tackle. And really my role, obviously, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. My specialty is helping you figure out how to handle it mentally and how to advocate for yourself when you are putting yourself at risk. That's where I come in. So that's what I'm going to mostly address today, but I will touch on a couple of other things that are pretty important to have figured out. Okay, so, and I was just talking with a swimmer today who, she told me that the one race that's kind of stressing her out right now is the 400 free. And it's because that the third 100 is so grueling, because it's a type of race that it's not such a long race that you have to pace yourself, but it's not a short enough race that you really have to go full out. There's a little bit of pacing. There's some good strategy involved in a race like that. Hi, Lisa. And so for her, she gets scared because she's like, I really want to go all out, give it my all, but I don't want to die at the end. And that's a common swimming concern. It's how much do I push and how much do I conserve? So it's kind of like a good metaphor for what the summer training is. It's, do you really push? Do you really go all out to build endurance, build strength, build flexibility? Or do you need to be strategic about it? So for this swimmer, of course I said, what do you think? That's my first question. Whenever an athlete's like, what do? I say, what do you think? Because you're the expert on you. You have raced that race. You have experienced that I'm going to die feeling. What do you think? And she said, well, that third 100 is when I'm always going like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. This is so hard. I'm not going to make it. So those negative thoughts start to come up. And that's basically what happens when you are in these grueling practices and you start to get fatigued. The typical reaction is to start going, this is so hard. Ouch, this hurts. Oh, my muscles are burning. I'm so tired. I don't want to do this. Oh my gosh, there's still 2 hours left. How am I going to get through this? And if you sit there, this is an exercise I do with the kids I work with. If you sit there for 30 seconds and allow yourself to ruminate on all those negative thoughts, you will literally exhaust yourself in 30 seconds. Your whole body will lose energy, you'll get bummed out, and you will want to quit. So if you are swimming or training and you're having that sort of attitude, you are definitely not helping energize yourself at all. So one of my biggest tips is going to be, what do you do with your mind that's going to allow you to conserve energy and help you to get through it in the most efficient way possible. And so it reminds me of this experience I had, like 15 years ago, maybe more, when I took a personal growth seminar. And it was all about kind of like unlocking your potential and pushing yourself to the limit. And so one of these experiential exercises that they had this group do was that they bussed us into the desert, dropped us off at the base of a mountain and said, climb, and had us walk up the mountain. And so of course I'm like, I have exercise induced asthma, and how can they do this without preparing? And I am not, like negativity like crazy, right? And yet this is what's happening. There are people who have, bum knees and are much older than me and that are in way worse shape that are like, all right, let's do it. And meanwhile, I'm like, this is going to be so hard. And this is not what I signed up for. And this is not why I spent all this money on this thing. And so that's as soon as you come up against a big challenge, you start to see what you're made of. You start to see what your default is. You get into those hard sets at practice, and then you're like, oh, okay, so apparently my default is negativity or not believing in myself or rushing to this, I have exercise-induced asthma, which, it's something that in myself I've considered might be at least partially psychological, because it's a good little, oh, I can't do it, sorry, oh gosh, I'm really hurting today. That's a great way for your brain to be like, avoid the challenge. This is too much change. Okay, so I start climbing this mountain and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so long and so hard. And we weren't allowed to talk to anybody. So I had to just be quiet in my head, climbing this big, tall mountain. And I'm pretty sure it took a couple of hours, just like straight up this hill. And so I had these different phases of suffering and not liking it and being like, hey, it's okay, I'm outside, this is cool, oh, I'm getting exercise, this is great, I'm gonna get in shape. And then I had this moment where I became aware that I could either suffer or I could just walk. I could just put one foot in front of the other and I could just walk. And I became very present, and I just decided I'm gonna just look at the rocks, I'm gonna listen to my steps, I'm gonna check out the leaves on the trees. I'm just going to be present for this experience. And oh, hi, Jennifer. And so I just started walking, and I came up with a mantra in my head that was, get to the top and keep going. Get to the top and keep going. So it wasn't even just get it over with. It was like, just keep going. So that it didn't imply that I needed to be done with it or that it was miserable or that I was suffering. It was just keep walking. Just keep walking. One foot in front of the other, one step at a time, and really present with my surroundings in nature. And when I realized that that was available to me, I looked around and it was this beautiful landscape, beautiful trees. Even the rocks became more beautiful and enjoyable along the way. And I just kept walking, and I got to a point where I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't end anytime soon, because I'm really, Jennifer saying, just keep swimming. We can learn from Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And instead of being like, is it over yet? Is it over yet? This is so hard, I can't breathe. I just kept walking. And that became this thoroughly enjoyable experience where, yes, my heart was pounding. Yes, my legs were tired. But I really enjoyed this experience. I took away this huge aha of, okay, I don't actually have to suffer, which I think was part of the whole experience. Thanks guys, I got my money's worth. You like dropped me off on a mountain and made me walk. But so for those of you who are facing, an insanely hard conditioning set, or, something that your coach is putting in front of you that they're like, ha ha ha, this is going to be so hard, you can just keep swimming, and that mantra, get to the top and keep going, get to the top and keep going. And I just focused in on that and my physical surroundings, and I got out of the negativity and it became pleasant. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'll bring up is, when you're in a situation where you're not going to hurt yourself, it's just going to be hard. For sure it's going to make your heart pound and you're not going to necessarily enjoy it. Then you're going to be okay. You just focus in on some mantra. And when I first was pregnant, my first trimester, I was so tired. And so I was like, this like Pilates rock star beforehand. And then I start going to Pilates and I'm like, I'm so weak. This isn't fun. I'm not getting strong. And I realized I was spending my whole class whining in my head about how hard it was, which you guys might be doing if you're suffering from injury or if you're fatigued or, anything that you're like, I should be stronger than this. This sucks. I caught myself one day and was like, hey, I am healthy and strong. Darn it. And so then I went through the rest of my class going, I'm healthy and strong. I'm healthy and strong. I'm healthy and strong. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. And sometimes you just got to pick a mantra. You got to pick some little quick sentence that you can say over and over and over that grounds you in the fact that everything is okay. You are not being tortured, even though it might feel like it, depending on, how wonderful your coach is at conditioning. But you can be grateful, you can be happy, you can be present. And there was another girl who, her coach, this is a gymnast who I've worked with, her coach used to like punish the kids if they weren't going for skills they were afraid of by giving them 10 rope climbs. And so we decided, or 10 leg lifts, it was something like that. And so we decided, okay, you're going to have 10 gratitude leg lifts. So you're going to go over there, you're going to grab onto the bar, you're going to lift your legs up. And for each time you lift your feet up, you're going to think, I'm grateful for my cat. I'm grateful for my hairdo. I'm grateful for, whatever it is that you're grateful for in that moment. I'm grateful I can walk. I'm grateful for my family. And she started enjoying her leg lifts and not dreading the having to be sent over to the bar, which made her not tense up and get afraid of balking anymore, which made it so she wasn't balking as much on her skills. It's like just those little mindset shifts that you can decide on once you catch it. Of course, you have to catch that you're like, oh, I'm doing leg lifts and I'm so mad at my coach and this is awful and why does he make me do this? You have to catch it and go, wait a second, that's not useful. Okay, let's be grateful. Okay, let's be present. Okay, let's sing a song that's totally unrelated to anything because at least it's better than me grouching out in my mind over this. So that's tip number 1 is come up with a mantra. Okay, then on the topic of fear of injury. Now this is legit. If you are overworking your body, if you are getting into fatigue, if you are sore, that's kind of a breeding ground for mental blocks because your brain starts to feel uneasy when you feel physically different, when you feel weird or wobbly or not as strong. You are actually at more risk of injuring yourself. So there's the actual risk, then there's the perceived risk. If you are afraid that you're going to injure yourself, then that actually increases your chances of injuring yourself. Fear of injury is one of the biggest precursors to injury because it makes you tense. It makes your heart pound. It makes everything a little different and a little off and less efficient. So if you are in any way actually legitimately worried that you might be injuring yourself, doctor number 1, talk to somebody who knows. Talk to, if there's a coach who's, also a physical trainer or somebody who you can trust and go, this doesn't feel quite right. You have to speak up. Okay, and that communication is one of the 3 things that gets people out of the fear of injury cycle. First thing you got to do is mention it. Hey coach, my ankle feels a little unstable today. What do you recommend? And hopefully your coach will say, go wrap it, or go grab your brace. Or if you have a history of injury and you have any kind of special equipment that can make you feel a little more secure and also give you that extra degree of stability, just do it. bring your brace, bring your tape, bring whatever you're going to need just in case, because if you are working harder, you don't want to create an overuse injury, and you also don't want to perpetuate, that cycle of actual injury. And okay, the next thing, so you can make sure to check in with the physical side. You have to allow for your rest and recovery. Get enough sleep, major hydration, and extra food. If you're training extra hours, you have to eat extra food. I think about how much my brother, he was a level 10 gymnast, how much that kid ate. It was insane. He ate 5 full meals a day at 12, 13, 14. He ate 5 full meals, balanced meals, tons of protein. And if you're not eating enough, you're going to end up with headaches, you're going to be weak, you're going to be more fatigued, you're going to be more at risk to actually injure yourself. So bringing extra snacks, knowing that if your training is going up, your calories have to go up, your hydration has to go up, and ideally your sleep has to go up too. Okay, so now I'll finish up with just a couple of quick do's and don'ts for this particular situation. If you are starting to feel like you're at risk for injury, or that you are overly fatigued, or that the negativity is, it's not just in your head, but it's this is a legitimate concern, speak up, okay? Don't keep it to yourself. Don't be a hero. That's number one don't. Make sure that you talk to somebody and at least air it out. And then if nobody's really giving you the right acknowledgement, because I was guilty of this too as a coach, I was like, you're fine, modify, whatever. Hey, why aren't you working harder? Why aren't you, coaches forget. You have to take matters into your own hands and decide, okay, I'm gonna back off on this because this doesn't feel quite right. And then I'm gonna check in with a chiropractor, I'm gonna check in with a doctor, or I'm gonna check in with somebody who knows my body and knows if I'm safe. Okay, next, don't ruminate over negative thoughts. As soon as you catch those thoughts, you gotta stop them right in their tracks and give yourself something else to focus on. Don't dwell on the risks. Okay, now this is something that we all naturally do as humans too. I was going for a bike ride. I know it's stupid. I was riding a bike 8 months pregnant. You guys are all probably like, oh my gosh, that's so dangerous. But I was fine until oh my gosh, there was a car and what if, and I had this whole image of horrible things happening. And I was like, whoa, I just need to look at the road, be safe, move over. And I even gave myself a moment to picture everything being fine, the car having good clearance, me getting on the sidewalk, getting home safe, instead of then tensing up and making strange decisions on my bicycle because I was stressed. I caught that negative image and was like, okay, that's not going to be useful here. Get yourself on the sidewalk, take a breath, picture it going well. Okay, we're good. And I was right around the corner from my house. I think my body was just we are done with this mission. But okay, don't dwell on the risks. Don't think about what could go wrong, and don't picture it. Don't picture what could go wrong. And if you are, flip it to something better. Okay, now here's the do's. Take precautions. If you might have a recurring injury, wrap it before you start. Get yourself prepared. Check with your doctor, communicate, stop those negative thoughts by giving yourself something else to think about. Come up with a mantra, picture things going right. Take a moment to relax, breathe. Do the things that we learn, that you guys have learned in the community, how to relax your body and your mind. And just keep it positive. Okay, you guys, go enjoy that brutal training because it is so good for helping you figure out what you're really made out of. And if it brings up all this negativity and self-doubt, then be like, wow, how interesting. Okay, let's use this summer, this grueling training, as an opportunity to get that much better at catching the negatives, getting a good mantra in place, and building physical and mental endurance so that you will be ready to rock when competition season comes back around. All right, you guys can always send me questions, Rebecca@performhappy.com. You can also join us at performhappy.com, which is the only place you're going to be able to work with me as of this coming Friday. I'm not going to be doing any one-on-ones while I get used to this new baby. Whew. But I will be available to the members the entire time. That is my commitment to you. So if you want me, find me there. And if you want one-on-one coaching with one of the other fabulous, amazing, well-educated sports psychology experts, you can find them at completeperformancecoaching.com. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.